We have with us Ron Silverman. He's the founder of the Matthew Silverman Foundation, and Candace Yoder, executive director of the foundation. Katrina Gay is with them now.
Hi, this is Katrina Gay, and I'm here with Nami, and I have with me today representatives from the Matthew Silverman Foundation who've been very generous sponsors of this event, of the Stronger Than You Think event. So I'm really pleased to introduce to you the two guests that we have today, Candace Yoder, who's the executive director of the foundation, and then Ron Silverman, who's the founder of the foundation. Welcome, and thank you so much for your support of this event. So Candace, can you tell us a little bit about why this is so important, why the topic of Stronger Than You Think and reaching young people is so important to the foundation?
Well, it's important to the foundation because, of course, like everyone, we had to pivot. Our goal is teen suicide prevention, so our focus is in middle school and high schools. And as teens are at home and experiencing more stress than ever, we need to focus on their mental health in order to prevent suicides.
So Ron, first I just want to say my heart goes to you as a mother myself of sons who had their own struggles, and during their teen years, I certainly can appreciate, and it's a conversation I've had way too many times with people who've lost their children. I just want to thank you for taking this tragedy and turning it into something positive in memory of your son. And so tell me if you can, a little bit about why this work has been so important, and what as you've gone through your own journey with recovering from your son's passing, and what your hope is for the future for other young teens and parents.
Well, first of all, thank you for your kind words. This effort that we've embarked on is critically important for a number of reasons. First, when we started the foundation, it was my hope to honor Matthew's memory and to, as you say, turn the tragedy into something that was positive. And the ultimate goal is to combat this unspeakable tragedy of teen suicide and try to eliminate the stigma that unfortunately is still extant. And as Candace said, we go into high schools and middle schools with a message, which is one which hopefully will educate and give students the clear message that they are not alone. And there's a lot of resources they can reach out to when they're feeling down and depressed. Our foundation at this point has seen 200,000-300,000 kids. We have 50 schools on our waiting list, and I fervently hope that we're making a difference.
As you've gone through, I know that you reach out to high schools and middle schools in a variety of communities, that you really customize your approach with them and partner in a partnership with what's going to be best for that community, which I think is just such a wonderful approach. What are some things that you have found and some sort of observations that you have that are the same no matter where you go? Inner city, wealthy communities, different economic and socioeconomic backgrounds. What are some of the things you see that no matter where you go are consistent?
Yeah, I think that,
Let me say first, let me just comment, Candace, and Candace would be much more fluent on this than I am, because she runs the foundation day to day and attends most of these presentations. One thing is perfectly clear to me, and that is that this tragedy has no socioeconomic boundaries. It is pervasive everywhere. Fortunately, Matthew grew up in a privileged environment. He had everything that you could think of from a material point of view, as well from a loving home. But unfortunately, he suffered from depression and took a permanent step to a temporary problem. And I think that the issue of depression, teen depression, particularly in this day and age, is, as I say, pervasive. Candace?
Yeah, I mean, it's very similar, like a layoff of what you said. It's very similar to the pandemic, whereas we don't know who it's going to hit. And we are all, everybody is, equally at risk. Now, there are high risk groups. I don't want to act like there aren't, but, loneliness is something that we see amongst all teens. Being afraid to get help, whether it's afraid to tell their parents, afraid to tell their friends. For some reason, they're afraid of the support or whether or not they'll be teased. And what they're dealing with on a daily basis is very similar as far as the stressors of school and social media and image and what you have to follow. It may be different what that looks like per community, but they're still dealing with those same issues. A lot of grief, especially around the pandemic. Grief is a big part of this as well. 1 in 3 students is grieving at every time. So with all the immigration issues that are going on, that might be a problem for that community, but each community faces its own unique challenges, which ultimately affects students' mental health.
So if you or someone you care about, every person and you're someone that you care about are worried or concerned and feeling frightened and afraid and possibly having these scary thoughts, what do you tell them?
I tell them to get help. And if somebody knows that somebody else is struggling, take everything serious. And if parents, if you're listening, even if you think they're attention seeking, that means they need the attention. So, no matter what, take everything seriously. Pay attention for behaviors. We're little spies with each other if we really care. So really, really focus on what the other is doing and take everything seriously.
I would point out that our website, which is matchfoundation.org, has warning signs and suggestions of how to raise this subject and have the difficult conversation. But as Candace indicated, my own history is that I knew nothing about suicide. I had no conception that it was even a possibility. So I knew that Matthew was depressed, but the thought of him taking his life never crossed my mind. Now, had I known then what I know now, I would have had a very direct and candid conversation and asked him whether he was thinking about hurting himself.
Yeah.
And hopefully that might have prompted a different result.
Yeah, and I always like to stress, don't be afraid to ask directly. Asking somebody, are you thinking about suicide? Are you thinking about hurting yourself? It will not cause them to do it. And frequently it has the opposite result. People actually feel, a lot of teens have reported that they feel very seen once somebody can see their pain, and it helps them because they don't have to tell you, I'm thinking about suicide. It's somebody else noticing them and seeing them. So just ask them directly.
As I said,
thank you so much.
Please.
A couple of takeaways that I heard. One, visit the website, which is matchfoundation.org, the Matthew Silverman Foundation. And there are some good tips and hints, and I'm going to echo what you said too about being direct. Just ask. It's okay not to be okay, and the more we can have these open conversations, the better, which is part of what we're doing today and tomorrow, and did yesterday with this entire event. So visit the mattsfoundation.org website to get some tips and conversation starters and some ideas, and know where to help and begin to have those conversations with ourselves, with one another, and recognize that this is a healthy thing to do. So thank you both for your support again and for being here today. And I know we're going to have your PSL later too, which I look forward to seeing. Back to you guys.
Thank you.